Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. Here we are together again on the radio. Alexis writes in. And she says, Tom, I need your help. Please advise me on a situation my boyfriend and I are having. By the way, many of you have had this problem. Alexis says, we've been together now for 9 months. He moved in at 6 months with my 4-year-old son and I. I am 34, and he is 32. Our relationship is great because we both want the same things in life. No more kids, no marriage, at least for right now. And he is an avid listener of yours. I feel the only way I am going to understand him a little more about this is if I get in touch with you. So here goes. My boyfriend is having a problem dealing with my past sexual experiences. 2, to be exact. The first was a threesome I had when I graduated college with 2 guys. After 3 months of dating, we were pretty open about our pasts, and I disclosed my sexual experience to him. He was taken by this, but didn't show that much of a reaction at first. And the next day, I felt him a little distant, and he said it bothered him that I had done that. I graduated in 1994. We are now at 2005. It's been 11 years since this happened. I have noticed now that our sex life hasn't been the same. He spoke to me about this after he talked to his cousins one night, that it was really bothering him. He said it was just a hang-up of his own, and that he had to get over it. But here we are at 9 months, and I noticed that we have sex only once a week. And that's me, most of the time, being the aggressor, which I don't mind at all. I asked him if we could shoot for twice a week, and he said sure. Just today, he told me that he is dealing with my past sexual experience. I asked him if it was affecting our sex life, and he said yes. So I told him I'm sorry that I'm making him feel this way because of my past, but that I'm trying to understand why he's still hung up about that. I asked him, when he thought about my past, how it made him feel, and he said, disappointed. Well, we all know that is the worst thing someone can say. He said he felt that I was tainted. And I asked him what that word meant to him, and he said, used. As in pre-owned. Well, of course, that hurt for him to say that to me. But I kept being positive, and I asked him how he was dealing with it. He said he was just trying to forget. I instantly looked online for some kind of literature that we could read together about this or something similar, and we found a few articles. I forwarded these articles to him, and that's where we are today. Tom, our relationship is very simple, and we respect each other so much. We have so much in common. And we agree on keeping our lives separate, but together. What I mean by that is that we still have a relationship, but that he doesn't become my whole life and I don't become his. We still have our individual lives with our kids aside from our relationship with one another. If you can give me some words of wisdom on how to try to work this out together, I would really appreciate it. Signed, Alexis. Well, Alexis, because you want advice, I'm first going to give you the most practical part of what I'm about to say, and that is, really, I believe the only way to work this out is to go to a therapist or a counselor, couples counselor, somebody who can have you both talk out your feelings about this. I've been in therapy for 5 years. I believe in it very strongly. I've seen what it does for people, including myself. And I believe it's critical, if you want to hang on to your relationship and keep it going, that you go in there and do this right away. But now let me say what I think of him. First of all, it's not your fault. Now, those of you who say I just like to crap all over women on this show and kick the crap out of them, here's an example where I'm telling you that the woman is right. she did the right thing. By having a threesome when she was in college, that's the time to do that stuff. Before you're married, before you have kids, before you're committed. That's the time to experiment. That's the time to live out every fantasy you've ever had. And then later on, when you have a serious relationship, then you don't have any curiosity about it. So when these things become available to you when you're married or living with someone or serious about someone, that you're not tempted to want to do them. Because if you do them while you're in a relationship, it can destroy the relationship. I am one person who believes that you should not get into a relationship until you have lived out all of your sexual fantasies and you have achieved your career goals. Those are the things you've got to do before you get into a relationship. The reason so many relationships fail is because of what we're seeing here. One person went out, realized a fantasy, and not only did she realize the fantasy, she was honest about it. I mean, Alexis, from what I can tell, of course we're hearing it from her point of view, from what I can tell, did nothing wrong. She did everything right. Her boyfriend is the one with the problem. And I hope he's listening. Because if he wanted to have a threesome, he should have done that. This is not because you feel Alexis is used or pre-owned or tainted or whatever term you want to use. It's because you didn't have the balls to close a deal like this. You would have loved to do what she did. You're jealous. Your ego is talking. And the fact is, you could have done it. And before you got into a serious relationship, pal, you should have done it. In fact, you should have lived out every fantasy you had before you started having kids or started moving in with a single mother. You should have realized these fantasies. Because now that you are living with a woman, with a child, and from the context of this email, it appears you have at least one child yourself, you have responsibilities now. You're not in a position where you can get a babysitter and go out and have a threesome. It does not make sense, and it risks the future viability of your relationship. You know, at least be a man and step up to the plate and say, you know what, I wish I had a threesome. Or the other thing that guys think in these situations, which is, well, if you could have had a threesome with someone else, you could have one with me. I mean, that's really what's going on here. The boyfriend did not get his threesome. And now he's going to sulk, and now he's going to mope. But whose fault is it that he didn't do that? It's his own. And there's very few men out there who have not wanted to do this. Many of us have done it. I was in bed with as many as 6 people at a time. 2 guys, 4 chicks. Was that a great experience? You bet it was. With the time I was in a threesome in my hot tub. Me and a buddy of mine and his girlfriend. Great. I don't have to stay up at night wondering what that's like or wondering what I would do if I ever had the opportunity or being jealous of other people's experiences because I have my own experience. That's why I tell you guys not to get married so young. Not to move in with people until you've realized your dreams. I tell you boys to make sure to do all the experimenting early on. That's why you don't get married until at least 25. Because you should be out there doing this stuff. Get it out of your head forever. Find out what it's like. Can I tell you something? Many of these fantasies are great in your head, and then the reality of them, the nuts and bolts of making them come true, may not be so wonderful. Let me tell you about one that went wrong for me. I had a guy, and this goes back to my days in Albany, New York. He was a guy who advertised on my radio show and had a live-in girlfriend. And he told me that he wanted the 3 of us to have a threesome. No touching between him and me. He just wanted to see me doing his girlfriend. And in fact, his fantasy apparently was to have the 2 of us doing his girlfriend at the same time. You can only imagine, sure you can imagine how that could be achieved in this new puritanical climate of broadcasting. I can't tell you the specifics, but you'll just have to imagine how that would be done. The 2 of us doing his girlfriend at the same time. You're thinking about it right now, aren't you? Hey, you are. Anyway, there we are. We did it. The two of us were nailing her at the same time, and we were all over her, and she was just completely getting off on it. And when we were done, we all fell asleep. The three of us. In bed together. About 5:30 a.m., I'll never forget it. It was snowing. It was cold outside. And you could hear that quiet out in the street of downtown Albany. Snow had fallen. Sound of truck tires doesn't sound the same driving on snow as it does on asphalt. You could tell without looking out the window it was snowing heavily. And I'm sleeping in a strange place. I'm in the apartment above the business this guy owned that advertised on my radio show. Me, his girlfriend, and him. The girlfriend wakes up in the middle of the night, or maybe she'd never gone to sleep. It's quiet. Street lamp outside is shining inside the room. The girlfriend reaches over and starts touching me. Very erotically. To the point where I wake up. When I woke up, she's like, let's do it again. Just you and me. Now you understand that I'd never done this before. It was the first time. And so everybody, I didn't realize at the time, but everybody has different rules. I'm thinking to myself, hey, if he had no problem with me doing his girlfriend when he was there, he's still there. He's right next to us, snoring. I mean, where do you draw the line? She wants to go again, okay. And it didn't take 5 minutes, and she was mounting me and riding me like a pony. And ultimately yelping at the top of her lungs, which wakes up the boyfriend. After she's done riding me, I can't sleep anymore, and I'm in a strange place, and I'm all creeped. So I say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get out of here now. It was a great night. Thanks, guys. See ya. I get out. And I later find out that this guy was so jealous and so angry and so pissed, and apparently had somewhat of a drug problem, that he went to the drawer and got out a loaded gun and threatened her for doing that. So later on, when I get home, my phone rings, and she's like, I can't talk, I gotta tell you, he pulled a gun on me. He's really pissed. He's pissed at you, he's pissed at me. Now, that never comes up in your fantasy when you're sitting there, flogging the dolphin. It never does. In your fantasy, it's all good, and everybody's on board. It's all great. Sometimes the reality of these things is not what you were expecting. How about the time it's you and two chicks? Turns out the two chicks like each other better than either one of them likes you. I've known people who've done that. The guy thought he's real wise ass. Let's bring someone else home to our bed. He does it. The wife was like, I don't know about this. Oh, come on, honey, I'd give anything. I've never seen this before. I would just like to see you getting it on with another girl. I just think it would... I've never done anything like this before. I can't believe you're asking me to do this. All right, I'll do it one time so you'll shut up about... She starts doing it, and she likes it better than what she already has. Pretty soon the girls get together every afternoon. That was not what you wanted, for God's sake. Ultimately, the two of them go prancing off with their new butch haircuts, move into West Hollywood together. That's what they do. These things happen, and they're not in your fantasies, pal. So that is why you must make your fantasies happen when you're young, so that later on you will not be tempted by the fantasies. Some fantasies, when realized, turn out to be amazing, even better than you expected. Some of them turn out to be a lot worse. They're not necessarily wonderful. So what I'm asking you to do is to do your experimenting early on. And in the case of these two people, This guy made a big mistake. He should have not only realized his dreams, he should have realized every fantasy he had while he had the chance. It can completely screw up a relationship. Have you had this problem in your own relationship where you've got, one person has all these experiences? Ever been with the girl who had that one lesbian experience in college? It was that Friday night in the dorm room, two girls didn't have a date, they were home, started drinking that jug wine, and one started giving the other a back rub, and pretty soon they were rubbing all kinds of things. And at first you started hearing the story, it started getting you hot, and then you realized, my God, I never had anything like that. I wasn't there, I didn't see it. What is my girlfriend, a lesbo? What's the deal here? Have you have a situation like that in your relationship where one of you has lots and lots of experience or has done all kinds of things and the other one just gets pissed about it?
Tom. 1-800-5800-TOM.
I've always told myself, don't call Tom and disagree with him, you're going to lose. But here I am.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show from Los Angeles at 1-800-5800-TOM. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. We appreciate it. All right. Do you have a relationship where one person, could be you, could be the other person, has more experience than the other in bed? Realized more fantasies, did wilder stuff? And does this imbalance cause problems? Jeff on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Jeff.
How are you?
Do you care, Jeff?
Immensely.
I'm doing great.
Great. Hey, yeah, like I was telling him, I've been married for like a year, and you're going to kick the hell out of me. I know I have 2 children before marriage. And, we've been married for like a year.
May I ask why, by the way, why'd you do that?
Well, Tom, I thought I was smarter than you.
I see. There we go.
I was wrong, huh?
Yeah, you can tell that, right?
So, anyway, I've been married for about a year, and I've done a lot of things in my life that she didn't get to experience.
Right.
And I'm paying for it now. She's talking about, she missed out, and she's regretting some things, and she has resentments and things like that.
Oh, boy. And why didn't you have this conversation before you got with her?
Well, I did. Before we got married, I brought it up, and she assured me that it wasn't going to be a problem. And honestly, I probably knew better, but I went through with it anyway.
Big mistake, right?
Correct.
So now you're married, and you have how many kids? 3?
I have 2 kids.
You have 2. One with her, one with somebody else.
No, both with her.
Both with her. One before you got married, one after you got married.
No, both before we got married.
Oh, my God almighty. All right. So what does she want to do now?
Well, she's talking about possibly moving out of the house, actually.
Moving out of the house?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But the problem is she, because of the kids, she's had the privilege of staying at home while I'm working. And so she doesn't have a job.
Well, she can stay home and do all your friends and all her friends.
Hey.
You're laughing.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but there's no guarantees, I guess.
Believe me, she's going to want to make this happen somehow.
Yeah. I mean, I got married to stay married, and I'm trying to do things to make that happen, but I don't know how it's going to work out.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't make that happen. A, you have to go to therapy. B, this was a big red flag. It was a big one. And you thought you were smarter. Not just than me, you thought you were smarter than the system.
True.
I mean, anytime somebody says, I can't believe you had orgies and threesomes. I can't believe you with 178 people and I was only with 2. This is very hard to fix.
It is. I'm going through it right now, I believe you.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Now, have you tried going to a therapist?
I am right now. I'm currently going.
But she won't go with you?
Well, like I was telling, I think it's Gary, we've been discussing it for like 3 days now, and we're at the point where she either does something or I do something.
How long have you been in therapy?
I just started. I've been in for about 3 months, probably.
But 3 months ago, did you talk to her about going in with you?
We actually have been to therapy before.
And what happened then?
Well, it got better for a while, but honestly, even at that point, both of us almost gave up on the relationship then. So
you know where this is going, Jeff.
Well,
you're just completing all the formalities here.
My ideal situation would be for both of us to go to therapy and her to do whatever if she needs to move out or whatever. But I hate the idea of being separated parents.
Yeah, well.
Even if she needs to move out for a while.
And again, you needed to have 2 children without being married. You needed that, huh?
No, I didn't.
And so you just let life wash over you like a tidal wave?
See, I always say that, and I'm not that person.
Well, yes, you are.
I'm not now. I was then.
Yeah, well, but a little late now.
Yeah.
Like, ask the tsunami victims. Okay? I mean, can you say, oh, I'm not a water person? A little late for that.
Indeed.
I can't swim.
Too
Too late.
You've kicked my ass enough. Take me out old school.
Here you go, Jeff.
1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
Let's say we bring her home and say, well, we just want to cuddle. What do you think they'd think?
We're gay. That's what they think.
Yeah, exactly. That's impossible. You know, a girl gets into my bed, she's going to get it every way except Tuesday.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
From Los Angeles, it's the Tom Leykis Show. Reminding you about Boys Night Out, which is coming up Friday, June 17th at 8 p.m. at the Wiltern Theater here in Los Angeles. Tickets continue to sell at a rapid clip, and we recommend that you call now for the best seats. Should I say the best remaining seats? At Ticketmaster, 213-480-3232. That's 213-480-3232. Or visit Ticketmaster.com. It's Father's Day weekend, Friday, June 17th at 8 p.m. at the Wiltern Theater in L.A. Sure, bring your dad along for Father's Day. Absolutely. This is a male bonding experience. No women allowed. Now, we can't legally keep them out, but we definitely do not encourage them to come, and we do not encourage you to bring any. Bottom line. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Sergio on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Sergio.
How's it going, Tom?
Doing okay.
That's great. Great to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I was, listening to you on the radio, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes.
And, since I heard you talking about those threesomes, I figured I called and give you a little heads up about my threesome,
Uh-huh.
Well, first of all, the way it started, I was living with my parents and I got kicked out. So I went and moved in with some friends, right?
Yeah.
And they were married, and they were in the room watching TV, and then I was out in the living room watching some TV. Then they come out to the living room. Next thing you know, we're sitting on the couch, and the guy, my friend starts, looking at her,
And what made you think we'd use that word on the air? What do you think I am, Dr. Laura?
Well, all right. Well, let's change that, okay? Anyways, so my buddy here,
He was licking her breasts.
Yeah, licking her breast, okay? My buddy's like, grab the other one. I'm like, no, that's right, So I'm like, I'm getting ready to get up and walk away. He just grabbed me by the hand and just pushed me right into, in her breast, right? So I said, oh, well, what the heck, let's go,
Mm-hmm.
What's meant to be is meant to be, So we're getting down, and, we're just loving it, especially me,
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's like, man, it's pretty good, I'm getting it on, I'm having a threesome with, my friend's here one time probably, that'll be it, right? So, then, we got tired, we stopped, we kind of relaxed, okay, and, she wanted more, so she started, she's like, hey, let's get some more, and I'm like, what about him? Don't worry about him, and next thing you know, I found out that he had a little bit of a problem, he wouldn't get after a while.
Another word we can't use.
Anyways, so, this went on for a while, we just kept having sex, and, next thing you know, she's wanting to leave him for me, and I'm like, no.
No, don't do that.
No, don't.
Stay with him.
Yeah. I'm like, no, you know what, I care about you too much, and, but I don't want you to leave him, he's my friend, and you're my friend, so I don't want you to leave him, I just want to have a great time, my car broke down, she take me to work, before we even stopped at work, we stop and have a quickie, we come home, we, have another one, and, all she wanted to do was just have sex with me, and forget about him, So eventually I ended up leaving the house, and I said, no, I gotta leave, I gotta get out of this, Yeah. And then, I moved back into my parents' house so I could get a place of my own.
Yeah.
And she started going to my parents' house and taking me up over there.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, it was bad, But,
It was bad, it was great.
It was great. It was great,
It was so wrong, it was right.
That's right. Yeah. But anyways, I thought I'd call you and let you know about what happened. Eventually, they ended up separating themselves, He went into the Army, and she moved back east somewhere, and she called me up before she left, and so I wanted to have another one, and said, hey, what the heck, let's have a goodbye party or something, and just you and me, and that's what happened, Tom. So, they left each other, and I was a very happy man.
I can tell you were, Sergio. Thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Prince on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Tom.
Prince.
Professor, how you doing?
Doing okay.
Okay, I got a situation. I know what you're talking about today. The thing is me and my girlfriend have been together for like a while, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the experienced one. And I'm not going to say she's not experienced, but, I'm the one that's, like, fulfilled all my fantasies and everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
The question is since we're not married and she hasn't done those things yet, should I let her go ahead and fulfill them?
Well, here's the deal. You have a relationship. Would you say you are in love with this chick?
Yeah, I'm in love with her.
Well, the problem you have is that if she lives out her fantasy, she might like that better than she likes you. Are you willing to take that risk?
I think I am, because I want to, let her go ahead and fulfill those. Before we, take the next level.
But you understand that could be the end of your relationship.
You think?
It could be. I'm not saying it will be or it must be. I'm saying it can be.
Wow.
And you have to be prepared for that possibility. Well, by the way, if she feels like you've got all the experience and she doesn't have any, that may be a moot point, because once you get together, she may cheat on you to get what she needs, or she may start demanding threesomes or other stuff that you might have done in the past. And then what will you do?
Probably break up with her.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that has to be resolved before you have a serious relationship. And I really recommend everybody out there who's casually dating somebody they're thinking of having a serious relationship with to have this conversation tonight.
Yeah, because we had the conversation when we first got together,
right.
And the relationship is serious now, but it's just, I feel like, well, you know what, I'm cool with it if you do it, because we're not married, that's the thing.
I understand that you're not married, but you have a relationship and you believe you're in love with this chick.
True.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see.
So you understand, with this imbalance, that could end your relationship one way or the other.
So you don't think it would be like, okay, then she fulfills her fantasies and pretty much...
No, it could be, but it might not be. Are you prepared for any outcome?
Yeah, I think I am.
All right. Because the fact is, look, if you don't let her do it, she may end up doing it anyway. What if somebody said to you, you know what, I'm never going to eat a meal unless you're around again, okay? And one day you have to work late.
Yeah.
She's going to get hungry. You think she's going to wait for you?
She might.
She's going to nibble on some cashews or some sunflower seeds or something.
It's a possibility.
It's not just a possibility. People are hungry, they eat.
True.
When they're thirsty, they drink.
True.
Brett, you ready to bleep me? When they're horny, they...
True.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
They don't wait for you to come home.
True. Thanks for the advice. Can you take me out old school?
I'll take you out old school, baby. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Rebecca on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Rebecca.
I had an experience where I was the more experienced one, and my boyfriend at the time, which we've now been broken up for about 7 years, he had no experiences at the time we got together, and this really bothered him a lot.
Tell me why. What did he say?
Because I had experiences, and he had none. That was pretty much the bottom line.
And you didn't see this as a potential red flag in a relationship?
Well, I was 18 at the time, so I guess I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
Then, so as a couple of years went on in our relationship, and we were living with a male roommate, and I said, okay, well, this bothers you so much, and it was actually his idea to end up having a threesome with the roommate, and it didn't turn out so good.
Why was that?
Well, the experience itself was, it was all right for me, and it was all right for my roommate, except for apparently I was paying too much attention to my roommate.
Who was a guy?
He was a guy, yeah. It was the roommate, male, and then my boyfriend and myself. And this upset my boyfriend greatly, that I was apparently paying too much attention to the other guy, and I didn't realize this. I was just in process of doing what we were doing, and he got completely bent out of shape and left the room and started yelling at me and just made a huge scene over the whole thing. And I made the mistake of saying, okay, I'll do it again some other time when it came up.
And next time I'll pay more attention to you than the other person.
So I tried doing that, and it wound up being this process where he kept putting me in these situations that I wasn't into it. The first time, it was kind of a bad situation, I got yelled at, the roommate got yelled at, my boyfriend didn't have as much fun as he wanted to. And I don't know what his deal was, but he kept wanting to put me in these situations to see me with another man.
Wow.
Because I guess he thought that would help his mind.
Why would anyone think that?
I don't know. And so, we've been broken up for about 7 years now, and I talk to him every now and again, and he still brings up the fact that I had more experiences than he did.
Well, and you know whose fault that is? It's his fault.
It's still his fault. He's been with two other girls since we broken up.
He should be doing it every night. So he can, if catching up to you is his life's goal, he should be working on that right now.
He should be, but I don't know why he just continually...
He doesn't. You know why? Because he doesn't know how to close the deal, for God's sake. The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. This is Jason on the Tom Leykis Show. Less than a minute, Jason.
How's it going?
Okay.
Hey, my girlfriend before we met, she experimented all the time. She was wild. She was with a married couple one time and then a girl-on-girl another time. And I just think, I'm just glad she got it over with before she met me. And I really don't care what her past was. And going back to that letter with that guy, I think it's, you said he's jealous, and I agree to some extent, but I think he's just really insecure about his own self.
Yeah, but he's insecure about himself. That's why he can't close the deal. But he's jealous because he'd like to have had those experiences. He does not know how to close the deal. He put himself in this position.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.